Okay, so I did something a little different today with the random word generator. I went into Chatty and I said, Chatty, what is the random word generator? And who has been Jing, and how does he incorporate the random word generator into this, helping you to bridge the connection between the mind and the mouth, or basically articulating, actualizing thoughts into words. To better communicate and refine your message so that you don't have these weird things that happen while communicating to distract people from the message. Okay, so Chatty basically explains it. And I said, okay, great. Now, with everything that you and I have talked about, I want you to take some random concept or phrase or maxim or philosophy or method or word that I've invented. And I want you to throw that at me and then see if I can do the random phrase generator for today. Okay, so the phrase that Chatty spat back to me is one of these quotes that I came up with, which is, wade not, exploit the current. Wade not, exploit the current. So let's give a little bit of background and context to this sentence. I chose each of these words for very specific reasons. The first one, let me get past this car. The first one is the word wade. Now, W-A-D-E, wade. I imagine being on a beach and you have this tide that's kind of coming in, right? And you have your feet planted in this tide on the beach, and this tide kind of comes up, it goes up and then it recedes back, right? It ebbs and flows. And you're kind of just waiting, not waiting, but waiting, just kind of sitting there in this like backwards and forward motion, just kind of not doing anything, kind of apprehensive. You're not getting in the water, you're not getting out of the water, you're just kind of sitting there. And when I hear the word wade, I have this feeling of like, there's some kind of intent where you have intent to do something, but you're kind of like, I'm not sure if I should. I'm not sure like what I should be doing. Should I move forward with this? And it's kind of not waiting. Waiting is intentionally having an idea. And it's like, I'm sitting here, I'm planted, I have a specific reason. Wading is kind of like, I'm in this transition thought process of like what I should do, and kind of you're apprehensive to moving forward. Okay, so wade not is basically, don't ever be in a position of apprehension. Either make a decision and move forward with it. Don't make a decision and remain stationed where you are. You have an intent and you're fulfilling that by not going forward. Or, and this is, I feel, why the second part is so important. Oftentimes, I don't know what I should be doing, or maybe I don't have an exact reason I'm doing this right now. And so, kind of like as a default fallback, it's always waiting. It's always waiting. Like, oh man, should I be doing this? Should I be doing this? I shouldn't be doing that. I couldn't be doing this. And so to prevent that from happening, I say exploit the current. Now, going back to the water analogy, the current is literally like a river of current. It's just always going. It's always going. Current also is, a reference to time, like exploit the present, the current moment. And when I think of a current, both in the form of time and as a river, or the current that's being pushed up and down the beach, I think that there is a source of energy. There literally is a kinetic energy when you're using the reference for water as an example, right? You have the kinetic energy, the force of the water in the river constantly pushing in one direction. And you could say it's because of gravity or other things like that. And that would be the same for the tides. But regardless, it is a kinetic energy that's pushing in the form of water against you. And so if you go back to, good morning, if you go back to that, like, okay, I'm in the current, I'm not waiting, And instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to exploit the current. I'm going to take advantage of the present moment. I'm going to take advantage of the forces, of the energy that's being pushed against me. And that could be in the dimension of a challenge that you're trying to overcome, a problem you're trying to wrap your mind around. Maybe it's a personal issue that you're trying to go through. And you exploit, or something as simple as like, I'll use a fun example. Like instead of sitting at a bus stop, waiting for the bus to arrive, you could get on your phone and you could just, doom scroll and search social media. And my feeling is that's kind of like waiting while you're waiting, because you're not really doing anything. You're not doing anything productive. You're distracting yourself from maybe doing something you should be doing. And so instead, put your phone down at that point when you're in line waiting for something, or you're at a bus stop waiting for the bus to arrive, and put your phone down and instead look around you and go, how can I beautify where I'm stationed right now? How can I beautify this area? And so going back to the bus station idea, on my mission, I sat at many, many bus stations. And Italy is notorious for being late. They're never punctual with anything. And, the bus times are no different. And so sitting at this bus stop, it would be anywhere from 1 minute to an hour that we would be waiting for a bus to arrive. And instead of waiting, I would exploit the current by actually getting up and picking up all the trash around the bus stop. Pick up trash, I pick up all that stuff and I throw it in the trash can. I just keep beautifying the entire area. And what ended up happening is when I would put myself in a position where I would exploit the current and try to beautify the area or beautify the people around me, and I'll give another example as to what I mean by that, it would leave these opportunities, planting these seeds of kindness where people would take notice. And I'd have random people come up and say like, why are you picking up trash, dude? There's tons of trash everywhere. And it'd give me a simple answer. Like, well, I'm just trying to take care of the planet. I'm just trying to beautify the planet. Just trying to take advantage of this time while I'm waiting for this bus that you and I both know is not going to be here for another hour. And it would spark conversations, which would lead to connection, which would lead to some insightful lesson or some insightful, new contact. Or it would lead to something like, well, thanks for doing that. And the person would leave and their day would be better because of it. Or I might be picking up trash and come up with a brilliant idea, but it was thanks to having detached myself. Instead of distracting myself, I detached myself from myself and I was trying to exploit or beautify the area. So here's another example. Wait, not exploit the current. You're at a party. You're at a get-together with other people. You're at a school event for your kids. You're at a social gathering of some sort. And maybe it's like you're kind of showing up to it. You're not hosting it. You're not directing it. You're kind of like been invited, but and instead of either falling back on your nature, which for introverts would be kind of like either finding the one person they know at the party and then just kind of chatting with that person and not kind of branching out, or an extrovert like me who's bouncing around to every single person they can before the night ends. If you instead wade not and just kind of distract yourself, but you exploit the current and you go, how could I beautify the people around me? And it could turn into like, oh, I should go talk to that person and compliment them. Or, wow, this person I feel is like kind of left out and I want to go talk to them and just listen. Or, oh man, I see that like they're getting behind on cookies, or there's a bunch of trash on a table, and I always go back to trash for some reason. There's trash on the table. I'm gonna go clean up all that trash and just put it in the trash can, just something like that. But if you are finding yourself in moments of limbo, instead of distracting yourself, look to that idea of how do I exploit the current? How do I use the present environment or the force against me, the challenge, as a way to actually help me become better or beautify the area around me. And in doing so, what I feel ends up happening is you allow the infinite, God, the universe, to be able to work wonders through you in either helping other people or allowing that force, God, whatever you want to call it, to like bless you with something because you're exploiting the current. So wade not, exploit the current. Whenever you find yourself in a moment where you're kind of in limbo, you're not really doing anything, not intentionally waiting, but you are in limbo, not really doing anything, instead of defaulting to some distraction, listening to music, social media scrolling, randomly texting. I do this a lot, YouTube, like just get on YouTube and just kind of like watch videos or getting on Netflix or something like that. Ask yourself, I'm not gonna wade. I'm gonna try, how can I exploit the current? How can I beautify the area around me? And I think that's when like you begin to leave your comfort zone. You consciously wake up and begin to allow God to come in and enrich your life with color and blessings and beauty. So 6 minutes turned into 12. All right, wade not, exploit the current.